eternal city, or so the world believed. A city built not by kings, but by the people, or so the story went. For nearly 5 centuries the Roman Republic endured, born of rebellion against monarchy, and bound by laws, debate, and bitter rivalries. But on one day in 44 BC, everything changed. Julius Caesar, general, statesman, author, and the most powerful man in Rome. He had conquered Gaul, defeated rival armies, and reshaped the fate of the Republic. Yet in his greatest moment, he stood alone. Guys, Julius Caesar was not born to grandeur. He climbed through wars and politics with talent, ambition, and ruthless skill. Rome was fractured, rife with corruption, inequality, and endless battles. Caesar promised peace, reform, and glory. But to achieve that peace, he first had to win Rome's greatest war, against Rome itself. In 49 BCE, Caesar crossed the Rubicon, a small but crucial river marking the legal boundary between his province and Italy itself. By Roman law, no general was allowed to bring an army across it. Crossing it meant rebellion, a point of no return. A civil war erupted. When Caesar emerged triumphant years later, he stood as the undisputed master of Rome. The Senate granted him the title of dictator for life, a title never before seen in Roman history. Caesar's reforms helped the poor, restructured the calendar, and stabilized the economy. But they also stripped power from Rome's elite. Many senators saw a familiar danger, one they had fought to destroy centuries before. A man with all the power of a king. Not all opposition was noble. Some feared Caesar's power for the Republic's sake. Others feared their own loss of status. Among them was a man whose name would echo through history, Marcus Junius Brutus, once a friend and protege of Caesar's, torn between loyalty and fear. Alongside him stood Gaius Cassius Longinus, a fiercely proud senator convinced that only drastic action could save Rome. The plan was not born overnight. Days of quiet conversations, secret appointments, and whispered arguments, until the conspirators reached a chilling consensus. Caesar had to die. In ancient Rome, the Ides of March, the 15th of March, was a day of markets, festivals, and omens. But in 44 BCE, it would become synonymous with betrayal and blood. Caesar was warned, not by politicians, but by soothsayers. Beware the Ides of March. Yet, like many warnings, it was forgotten by morning. That day, Caesar wore his purple toga and entered the Senate chamber in the theater of Pompey. Senators stood, not in greeting, but in waiting. The conspirators surrounded Caesar with petitions, as if they sought his favor. One by one, they drew their daggers. Reports say there were about 60 men, and that Caesar was stabbed 23 times. Some ancient sources suggest Caesar tried to resist at first, even grabbing the arm of the first assassin. But Rome's greatest general was overwhelmed, betrayed not by strangers, but by men he had trusted. One of the most haunting moments, whether legend or truth, is the alleged whispered plea. Upon seeing Brutus strike, "Et tu, Brute? You too, Brutus?" Words that have reverberated through centuries, capturing a betrayal as personal as it was political. Caesar fell in the heart of the Senate, his life ending not with the clash of armies, but with the silent knives of conspirators cloaked in robes. News of Caesar's death rippled through Rome like wildfire. At first, the conspirators believed they had saved the Republic. They summoned the Senate, only to be met with silence, fear, shock, anger. Then Marcus Antonius, Caesar's loyal friend and fellow consul, rose before the crowd. He carried Caesar's torn purple toga, stained with blood. With a voice both raw and passionate, he accused the assassins of murder. The people wept. The forum erupted. Antony's speech ignited the city. The crowd erected a pyre for Caesar's body right in the Roman Forum, and the Republic's fragile hope turned to ashes. The conspirators did not succeed. Instead of restoring the Republic, their act plunged Rome into another cycle of civil wars. Brutus and Cassius fled and raised armies. Caesar's heir, Octavian, a young noble with a keen mind and burning ambition, returned to Rome to claim his inheritance. 2 years of war followed. Bloodshed, betrayal, allied forces shifting like sand in the wind. At the end stood Octavian, transformed into Rome's first emperor, later known as Augustus, symbolizing the death of the Republic and the birth of the Roman Empire. All because one day's violence failed to achieve its purpose, yet changed the world forever. Julius Caesar was not a tyrant in the cartoonish sense, nor were all his enemies noble patriots. They were humans animated by fear, ambition, and love for their visions of Rome. In that chamber, in the shadows of power, ideals collided, and a republic fell not in an epic battle, but by the knives of men who believed, perhaps sincerely, they were saving it. History did not forgive easily. Rome would never be the same, and the words of that fateful day, Ides of March, remind us that power and democracy walk a thin line, and that even the greatest among us can fall to betrayal and to their own human contradictions. If you enjoyed this story of ambition, loyalty, betrayal, and the turning point of a civilization, like and subscribe for more cinematic journeys through history.